Hello, my name is Dr. Carl Candlepot, and this is the orientation film for the Lost series of videos here on this channel. The channel was originally designed as a resource where Lost fans could come to understand the unique mysteries and ideas emanating from the 6 seasons of the show. Not long after the series began, however, there was a spoiler. And since that time, the following protocol has been observed. At the start of every video, a spoiler warning must be issued. Utmost importance that once the warning is shown, if you have not seen through the indicated episode, you exit the channel in a timely fashion. Namaste, and good luck. Hey everyone, long time no see. It's been way too long since I posted my last Lost Theory video. But today is September 22nd, which means it's the 16th anniversary of the premiere of Lost, as well as the 16th anniversary of the date the plane crashed within the world of the show. So obviously I thought it was appropriate to try and get a video done today. I'm hoping to have it edited and uploaded by the end of the day, fingers crossed. Anyways, the topic I figured I would tackle today is one of the most frequently referenced unanswered questions from the show. One of the very few questions I ever hear that was actually legitimately never answered in the show. And that is, of course, the issue of who was shooting at the time travelers in the Outrigger Chase scene, as well as when and why that happened. My hope in addressing this topic is to demonstrate that even in the rare cases when Lost didn't give us the answers, part of the fun of the show is investigating on your own and coming up with your own answer. Honestly, this may have been my most interesting experience yet making one of these videos. That's because when I started writing it, I was just explaining the interpretation I've had for the past several years. Only once I started researching it, I realized my interpretation was impossible based on where the 3 Outriggers were throughout the last 2 seasons. So I legitimately had to start my investigation from scratch and hope that I came up with a new answer that was also satisfying. And to my surprise and amazement, I actually did. So I'm very excited to share that with you guys. If you didn't happen to catch my channel update video a couple months ago, I did just want to follow up on that. I do think I'm going to start uploading some videos that are on other topics, probably still on film and maybe some TV shows. But yeah, I will still continue to make these Lost Theory videos. I think that'll still be the main focus of this channel. But yeah, if you guys start to see other videos on here, I just kind of felt like I wanted to branch out into some other topics, probably just sporadically. Anyways, if you do happen to enjoy this video and would like to support the channel, you can become a Patreon donor for as little as $1. Or you can support it for free by simply liking, subscribing, and or sharing this video. If you know other Lost fans that might enjoy this channel, please do share it with them. And as always, if you have any thoughts about this video, be it questions or alternate theories, or if you have a suggestion for a topic you'd like to see a video on, please do comment those things below. But for now, let's get lost. It's one of the few questions that truly did go completely unanswered by the time the show concluded. Who exactly was pursuing and shooting at the time-traveling survivors in the Outrigger, and why? Also, when exactly?
To get away from whoever came in those.
Where did these come from?
Good question. Pretty old. Not that old. Let me see that. Azura.
Ajira. It's an airline. It's based out of India, but they fly everywhere.
Great. Maybe they got a flight out of here to Vegas. Who came in these? Others?
Don't look at me.
My question is, when are they coming back? Let's not wait to find out.
keep battling! Battle harder! They're getting closer! Thank you, Lord!
Before diving in, I feel we must first address the Black Rock journal entry page found in the complete series box set. It's a quick and interesting read that attempts to provide an explanation for this question. I'll provide the link to the full transcript in the description below, but essentially, it claims that while anchored offshore, the Black Rock sent out a scouting party of 6 men. While in the water, they apparently exchanged fire with another vessel before it vanished in a flash of heavenly light. Now, this entry has never actually been established as canon, and there are actually several reasons it doesn't hold up as an explanation. First, the moment at which the survivors were shot at seemed to take place sometime after Ajira Flight 316 came to the island, evidenced by the water bottle in the boat. Unless, of course, there was an off-screen time flash after the time travelers left the shore. But if this were the case, why would Miles exclaim, "I think they want their boat back"? He clearly believed they were in the same time period as before. And if they weren't, then the outrigger they took was not left by the Black Rock crew. So why would the crew have opened fire on them unprovoked? A potential explanation for this is that the Black Rock and its crew were time hopping as well, and they just happened to appear in the same time period. This could also explain why the journal entry establishes the crew were able to witness the bright light that caused the 815ers to flash, when other passive observers never did.
What just happened? Where did you go?
To give Richard his compass back.
The explanation for the crew seeing the flash being that they too were dislodged and experiencing their own flash. However, this again raises more problems than solutions. If they too were jumping through time, why was the flash of light described as though it were something they hadn't ever seen before? And did they just happen to flash back to the same era they were from before crashing on the island? And how then would the water bottle have ended up in the boat? Also, I could be wrong on this point, but the Outriggers are not the kind of boats I'd expect to find on a ship like the Black Rock. And of course, perhaps the biggest issue of all, why would Richard and the ship have stopped time hopping? Taking all these holes into consideration, I personally don't accept this journal entry as a valid or canonical explanation. So now let's see if we can deduce an explanation that makes more sense. Let's start by tracking the 3 Outriggers we first see in Season 5, on Hydra Island when Ben leads Sun to them. Now, as we trace them one by one, let's keep a few important things in mind. First, one of these Outriggers is unique from the other two in that it has protruding structures on both sides of the boat, as opposed to just one. Furthermore, it is that boat specifically which ends up pursuing the time travelers. The next thing to remember is that we're looking for a point at which this unique boat could have ended up at the beach camp alongside one of the other Outriggers where they would both be discovered by the time travelers. And the last thing we want to avoid forgetting is that once the time travelers take the Outrigger, it travels back in time with them to 1988, never to be seen again in the chronological timeline. Unless, of course, it ages into one of the other Outriggers, but let's not overcomplicate things. So let's start with our unique Outrigger, as it should be the one that's easiest to avoid mixing up. The first and only time we see it used after being discovered on Hydra Island is when Ilana's group uses it to transport the crate containing Locke's corpse to the main island, bringing Lapidus with them. So let's call this one the cargo ship. So after Ilana and her group use it once, we never see it used on screen by anyone ever again. So that one was easy. Next, let's trace the first one we see used, the one Sun and Lapidus take.
Thought you trusted this guy.
I lied.
Let's call it Sunbeam. We know the pair of them take it to the barracks dock.
You want to remind me why the hell we're doing this?
Ben said if my husband is on the island, the best place to start looking for him is here.
Oh, I see. That's the why she took it. Before you whack him in the head.
And it's still there when Ben and the man in black arrive the following day.
Looks like we're not the first ones who decided to tie up here. That'll be Sun and Lapidus.
Then, that night, Lapidus tells Sun he's going back to Hydra Island.
Let's just go back to the plane and see if I can fix the radio and maybe we can get some help. I'm leaving working without you.
If there's any chance of finding my husband, then I have to stay.
All right. Well, for God's sake, watch your back.
Presumably he takes Sunbeam, and not the one Ben and the man in black used. Though it doesn't really matter, since we'll end up tracking both boats in the end. The point is, he returns an Outrigger to Hydra Island before promptly being knocked out and being loaded onto Ilana's Outrigger, the cargo ship.
Captain Lapidus! Captain Lapidus! You're back. Thank God. They found guns.
What are you talking about? Who found guns?
Ilana and 3 of the others. They said they were in charge now.
Where are they?
Ilana!
Via, what?
Get everyone else. Tell them it's time. And tie him up. He's coming with us.
Sunbeam is now the only Outrigger on Hydra Island. This briefly changes when Sawyer eventually comes over and meets Zoe and Widmore, but he is quickly sent back in the same boat he arrived in, leaving just Sunbeam on Hydra Island again. We can then assume Sunbeam is how Zoe, Seamus, and their team managed to get to the main island to extract Jin and bring him back to Hydra.
Is this the guy?
Yeah. Let's take him.
And then again when Zoe returns to put on her mortar show.
Do you have a fix on my position? Show them what we're capable of.
She then returns to Hydra Island in Sunbeam, and after all hell breaks loose, she and Charles use it to escape to the barracks dock with some equipment.
It's locked. He's coming. No, I don't think so. Our boat is still there. They have time to...
Run. Get back here as fast as you can.
And there it still sits when we last see it in the series finale. At which point we can safely assume it does not somehow make its way to the beach camp and then back to 1988. And now to the final outrigger, the one Ben kills Caesar over.
My friend, you are not taking in. You looking for this?
Let's call this one Et tu Benjamin, or ETB for short. So Ben takes MIB on the ETB to the barracks dock, where they see the sunbeam already tied up.
Home sweet home.
Looks like we're not the first ones who decided to tie up here.
That'll be Sana Mafidas.
Now, we never actually see the ETB leave this dock, though we first see it's no longer there in Season 6, Episode 3, What Kate Does. And it next appears in Season 6, Episode 8, when MIB leads Sawyer straight to it on a secluded beach.
You going on a boat ride?
You are.
Where?
Hydra Island.
The timeline here leads me to speculate that the Man in Black told Claire to move it, and that this is perhaps where he disappeared to briefly in Dead is Dead.
Where did John go?
He said he had something to do.
Did he say what it was?
No, I didn't ask.
Either that, or perhaps he moved it himself after tying Richard up in a tree. Who really knows? Anyways, Sawyer is sent over to Hydra in ETV to do recon, after which he returns it to the secluded beach.
How'd it go?
Later, Saeed and the Man in Black take ETB back over to Hydra after Jin is taken.
We're taking a boat ride over to the other island.
What do you need a boat for? Can't you just turn into smoke, fly your ass over the water?
Do you think if I could do that, I would still be on this island?
No, because that'd be ridiculous.
The Man in Black leaves Saeed behind so that he can spy on Widmore.
Where's Saeed? You lose him too?
When you were over there, James, you mentioned that Whitmore had someone guarding a room on the submarine. Guarding something they didn't want you to see.
Yeah, so?
I don't want your secrets.
Now, presumably, Saeed and Desmond didn't swim all the way back to the main island, which leads me to believe the Man in Black left ETB there for them to use. But wait, does that mean the Man in Black was lying about not being able to travel across water? Let's stay on topic, though. ETB ends up back on the main island after Saeed brings Desmond over. We next see it when Jack wakes up in it, having been brought over unconscious to Hydra by Saeed and the Man in Black.
What happened?
Next, the Man in Black returns ETB to the barracks dock where he discovers the sunbeam full of Widmore's equipment. And lastly, in the series finale, Miles and Richard take the ETB back to Hydra Island one last time, where it is last seen.
What are you guys doing out here?
We're going to Hydra Island to blow up the plane.
We're on our way to the plane. Miles, listen to me. Whatever you do, don't blow up that plane. We're not going to blow it up. We're going to fly it the hell off the island. Just get over here now.
At which point, we can safely assume it does not somehow make its way back to the beach camp and then back to 1988. Well, crap. I guess there really is no way one of these outriggers could have ended up at the beach camp with the cargo ship. If only there was another outrigger that we knew of that we also knew would be at the camp. Wait a minute. How could I forget? The original Outrigger.
We're here.
And when and where was it last seen? When Jen and Bernard used it for fishing at the fricking beach camp. So now that we can place a standard Outrigger at the beach camp, let's see if we can reasonably place our cargo ship there within the timeline. And in the process, finally reach a conclusion for what actually happened in the Outrigger chase scene, as well as when and why it happened. Let's return to that sequence. It begins with the time travelers returning to camp, discovering all of the supplies have been depleted.
I wonder how long ago this happened.
And then finding the two Outriggers, one of which contains the Ajira water bottle. It's therefore reasonable to conclude this is a point in time after the crash of 316. But we are also given enough information to narrow it down even further. In the Season 5 finale, we are shown the others stop at the beach camp on their way to Jacob and the statue.
This is our old camp.
Home sweet home. All right, everyone. Richard tells me we should get to where we're going by nightfall, so why don't you all take this opportunity to rest up and catch your breath. Considering what I have planned for you, you're going to need it.
In my eyes, this was meant to imply this was when the supplies became depleted. If we run with that conclusion, this tells us the time travelers weren't just at a point in time after the 316 arrival, but also after the others passed through the camp. Which means, at the absolute earliest, the time travelers arrived at the camp later that same day. So let's start there. We know during this same episode, on this same day, Alana and her companions were using the cargo ship to bring Lapidus and the crate over to the main island. We then see them carry the crate to the cabin, only to discover they need to go to the statue. The very next time we see this group is when they arrive at the statue coming from down the beach.
Don't shoot. It's okay.
Now, if you were them, would you not find it both easier and more efficient to return to the boat and sail around the coast, along which the statue happens to be located? That is, instead of carrying that huge crate across jungle and beach terrain on foot. When considering this, I believe they went back to the cargo ship to cut around the island. I then propose that along the way they spotted the beach camp and decided to go ashore either for supplies or to investigate. They then would have discovered an abandoned Outrigger. And as not even Lapidus had ever been to the beach camp before, naturally, they would all assume it's the only other outrigger they know about that they didn't leave behind on Hydra Island. The one the man in black took. Lapidus knew Sun went with this imposter, and Alana's group knew that Sun was likely a candidate, and that the man in black, in order to get access to Jacob, would head for Richard, the very man they themselves are looking for.
I wish you never showed me what was in this damn box. What the hell are you gonna do with it anyway?
We need to show it to somebody.
What for?
So they'll know who they're up against.
Which one of you is Ricardo's?
It's Richard, actually.
What lies in the shadow of the statue?
Dile qui nos omnes servavi.
Richard, I'm Alana. I have something you need to see.
It would therefore be understandable for Alana's group to venture into the jungle in the hopes of tracking them, under the false impression that they came ashore in the ETB, which is actually the original Outrigger, in order to head inland, thus explaining why Alana's group would have ignored the tracks heading down the beach. Now yes, in this scenario, one of the members of Alana's group would have had to have left his or her water bottle in the original Outrigger after investigating it. But honestly, I don't find that particularly outlandish. Anyways, before getting too far inland themselves, I think Alana's group heard Sawyer's shouts.
Parents back.
Finally. Anybody for a Dharma beer? Hello? Anybody here? Rose, Bernard!
And quickly returned to the beach to find the Outrigger being taken by none other than the man they were trying to stop. The man with the face of the corpse in their crate. From here, it's not hard to imagine what would have happened. They would have piled back into the cargo ship in pursuit, having no time to secure the crate back to the boat, and therefore leaving it behind with perhaps an armed guard or two. We as the audience know the time travelers were headed for the orchid, and we also know how close the orchid is to the statue. So from the perspective of Alana's group, they would see the man they were trying to stop from reaching the statue and killing Jacob, setting off in a boat they already believed to be used by him, in the exact direction of said statue. As we see in the Season 6 premiere, when Bram and the others opened fire on the man in black, these people didn't seem to understand shooting him would be pointless. Or perhaps they hoped to kill all of his companions, so that he wouldn't be able to use any of them to kill Jacob for him. Either way, they'd have good reason to then open fire on the 815ers. Though once the original Outrigger and its passengers vanished right in front of them, I imagine they could think of nothing else to do but return to the beach for the crate, and resume heading for the statue. And that is my explanation for the Outrigger Chase. One that meets each of the requirements, and that fits the timeline of the Outriggers. Am I saying I think this is what the writers had in mind when they wrote the scene? No, I'm definitely not. But do I think this is perhaps the best possible explanation that works within the context of the finished show as it exists now? At this point, I absolutely do. But if any of you have an alternative explanation that you think works even better, I would genuinely love to hear them. So feel free to comment those below. Until then, namaste and good luck.
Oh, hello there. If you're like me, you can't get enough of Lost. So if you'd like to be notified when more videos like this one arrive, just click right up here to subscribe. In the meantime, if you'd like to check out other videos like this one, just click right up here. Or, if you'd like to check out a fun talk show filmed in an abandoned Dharma broadcast station, just click right over here. And as always, remember that this channel is like the island. It wants you to come back.